This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao. A gift from Italy to your home. San Pellegrino Ciao is a flavored sparkling water made with real fruit juice, finished with a pinch of Sicilian salt for a perfectly balanced taste. So which flavor will you choose? Peach, lime, blood orange, cherry, or maybe the all-new limoncello? Crafted in Italy with 0 grams of added sugar. San Pellegrino Ciao. Buy it now.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Cocktails up here feel just right. Is Cambria amazing? All right. Bring a date, your team, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com. See you on the roof.
This is Full Court Press with Sean Spicer.
Sean Spicer will be getting a new position.
A decorated veteran, a political strategist, and he knows Washington inside and out.
Just like Sean Spicer.
The Spicer era.
Sean Spicer.
The Full Court Press is on the air. Now, here's Sean Spicer.
Good Sunday morning. This is Sean Spicer. You are joining Full Court Press here on WABC. I hope you had a great week and are looking forward to the next one as we get ready for July 4th. I'm excited. The whole July 4th, normally at Christmas, we get ready for Christmas. You got all these sales and the music starts playing. I feel like minus the sales, we're getting pumped for the 4th of July because it's so significant this year, our 250th anniversary as a nation, the opportunity to celebrate the greatness of this country, the freedoms that we all enjoy. I'm excited. I've never, I love the 4th of July, but this year, I think the lead up to it, all of the stuff that's going on, the UFC fight, the flyovers, the Great American State Fair is happening in the Capitol. The president's going to be doing this stuff in South Dakota. I'm actually in New York doing some stuff for the International Naval Review. The vice president's going to be up. It's going to be some really cool stuff. If you're in New York and you look down on the piers, you're going to see a bunch of Navy ships, not just from the U.S., but 40 other countries. This is huge. Now, New Yorkers, you guys are used to Fleet Week, and I've done a bunch of those up with you. Happens over Memorial Day. This year, because of the significance of our birthday, the 250th, we're doing what they call an International Naval Review. The last one was in 2000, and before that, 1976, when we're celebrating the 200th anniversary of our country. This is a big deal, and you are going to see all sorts of ships from the United States and sailors walking through the streets, but then these other dignitaries and navies and heads of Navy. So if you're living in New York, you're going to get a whole special show. It's going to be great. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. And there's going to be a lot of cool things. There's a bunch of stuff. If you go, there's a website. If you just go on the Navy's website and Google International Naval Review, there's a whole list of activities that are going to be happening throughout New York City in particular. A lot of it will be streamed, by the way. So on July 4th, there'll be a big, huge pomp and circumstance kind of stuff, this review where all these ships come by. You'll see a lot of cool stuff out on the Hudson, but you'll also be able to go near the pier and in Times Square. There'll be displays. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you because I'm getting more and more excited for July 4th and this big anniversary than ever before because of it. I feel a sense of patriotism. I'm one of these guys, and I started to get, I have these litmus tests. When you go through a town, always look at how many flags are out. Government flags versus personal flags. If they're your flag, or I always think it's better, right? If you've done it versus if they're a bunch of government put flags on flagpoles or telephone poles, that's like government instituted patriotism. But when you made a decision to go put a flag out on your own, I love it. And I've been seeing more and more people, because I bought one of these 250, they see 1976 or 250 celebrating the anniversary of the year. I think it's really cool. Anyway, so I'm getting pumped up. I'm getting excited. And we have an amazing show coming your way. I'm going to break down some primary results, especially for you in New York. What the heck is going on with you guys? I mean, honestly, I thought Mandami was like an anomaly and we'd all get over it. And in fact, he's the kingmaker now. But there's a lot of bigger things that are about to happen. I'm going to break it down for you in a way that I don't think you'll hear anywhere else. Tom Emmer, the House Majority Whip. What a week they've had in the House. They thought it was all going to go really swimmingly. They're going to pass this housing bill, and then the Save America Act got in the way. And I'm going to give you some details on that in just a bit because I want you to understand what's at stake. Because what you get told and what's happening are a little different. And I'm going to get into that a little with Tom Emmer, and then I'll break some more stuff down for you afterwards in a really interesting way. I had James Blair on my show. He is the president's top political advisor on my nightly show on it was Wednesday of this week. You can go to YouTube and check it out. I'm telling you guys, I love doing this show. I love doing my show because I have these conversations with people, and Tom Emmer's coming up 20 minutes with the House Majority Whip. I just don't think you get to hear that anywhere else. And what I did with James Blair, they got $300+ million. I'm going to play you a little of this a little later in the show. But when are they going to start spending? How are they going to start spending? And he broke it all down for me on my show. We have this massive money advantage. I talk to you guys every week about the House and the Senate. And the media narrative from a bunch of lazy people is that, well, the Republicans are going to lose the majority because history suggests that. And I've told you this before, but it bears repeating. There are 9 targeted Senate races. And actually, I would argue that it's now down to 8. Texas is going off the map. Tallarico, I mean, my goodness, the clip resurfaced this week of him saying, I'm a Christian that doesn't believe in Christianity. Hello? And here's the dirty secret. At some point, winning costs money. And the Democrats are not reserving anything in Texas. It's not a cheap date. So the number of races is coming down to 8. Okay. The Democrats are defending 3 seats: New Hampshire, Georgia, and Michigan. Okay. So they gotta hold all 3 of those. Now I can make a case for any one of them, but I will tell you the Michigan one, there is a widespread belief. My colleague on the morning show, The Huddle, Dan Turrentine, says that the scuttle is they all believe on the Dem side that Al Saeed, this 9/11 sympathizer, is going to be the nominee. I said this when I did the analysis a little while ago. If that happens, Mike Rogers, the former congressman, former FBI agent, wins Michigan. So we just take one off their table. But assuming that they hold all 3, that Ossoff wins in Georgia, that Chris Pappas, the congressman, wins that open seat and holds that seat for him in New Hampshire, and assuming that Michigan gets really high and votes for El Said, which won't happen. But just for the sake of argument, let's just say that they hold all of those seats. That means that in the 5 remaining seats that Republicans now have to defend, they have to win 4 of the 5. I mean, Iowa, no. Ohio, no. Alaska, no. North Carolina, probably not. Maine, probably not. But those would be the 2 most vulnerable. So even on let's just play this out, hypothetically, best case scenario, they get both of those. That's 2 seats. They're still 2 seats short. So I'm just telling you, that's it. And then on the House, I've been through this with you before. Republicans, by all estimates right now, have about 212 safe seats. You need 218 for the win. So they need 6 of about 18 swing seats. That's what, 28%, something like that? I'm not good with math. But this is, so, okay. Then add the following, and this is where New York figures in. You guys, I mean, there is a new kingmaker in the Democratic Party, and I'm calling him Mom Daddy. He is the new daddy. Mom Daddy. Trademark. He's the new head of the Democratic Party. And let me just explain to you the narrative that's going on in Washington. So all of these Democratic Socialists of America types win in New York the other day. They toppled incumbents. Madami went 3-0. When was the last time anything in New York went 3-0? Sorry. Maybe the next kind of. In the lead up anyway. But he is the kingmaker right now. He's taking out incumbents, long-time incumbents that were backed by Schumer and Jeffries and all these folks. And there's more to come. But here's what I want you to understand. So after this big win, Mom Daddy's big night, number 1, the Democrats start running around and saying, well, this is just New York. It's not. Look at Maryland. Look at some of these other things. And you start to realize that Diana Georgette is a congresswoman, a longtime congresswoman from Colorado. She's about to lose too. But think about this. The Democratic Party would have you believe when all these leaders got asked about the reaction to these Democratic Socialist folks coming to join. Well, this is just fringe. It's just New York. Really? Go look on a map right now. Google Republican versus Democrat, like a map on the internet with red and blue by congressional district. You know what you're going to see? The Democratic Party in the U.S. House is a geographic party. It's an urban party. It's a city party. Their members come from New York, L.A., Chicago, Denver. That's it. They don't represent rural America. They are an urban party. That's it. Full stop. That's entire. Go look at the map. Look at the little blue dots. And that's what they are. They're dots. High concentration, big cities. And this is a trend. So it's not a New York thing. This is the new base of the Democratic Party. I'm going to ask Tom Emmer about this in just a minute. This is the base. This is who they are. And then let me play this out just 1 second further. New York has two leaders in each chamber. Chuck Schumer leading the Senate and Hakeem Jeffries. So let me play this out first. Schumer, this guy, first of all, they won't win the Senate because I just explained that, right? So that's not going to happen. If he wins, Chuck Schumer and everyone with a brain realizes that he will get challenged from the left, whether it's AOC or somebody else. By the way, don't you love the fact that you guys already have a new person? They're calling this I can't even pronounce her name, DAC. She's the Hispanic woman that took out the Hispanic chair, the chair. By the way, which I thought was kind of odd or interesting, that this woman that she defeated was the chair of the Hispanic caucus, who was the first illegal ever elected. So this challenger from the left literally deported her, politically speaking. Anyway, Schumer's going to get challenged, and everybody knows that he'll lose. So he'll either lose or announce that he's not running or retire. And they're not going to elect that guy. So I'm just telling you, that's that. Then on the House side, you got Hakeem Jeffries. He got shellacked this week. So I'm just telling you, that's where, I mean, Jeffries gets this. These guys are now owning it. When I say mom, daddy, it's for a reason. They know that he controls the party now because they got 7, 8. They're going to join AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib. That's 8, 9, probably more to come. They have 10 votes that they control. They always say on the right that the Freedom Caucus, there's 20 members that are very, very conservative. Like, oh, we got to worry about them. You got to worry about these guys. You have to worry. Like, they're going to control. And Hakeem Jeffries will not get elected. He is not of them. He is not one of them. No matter how much he tries to twist himself into a pretzel, it's not going to happen. In fact, a reporter caught up with him and asked him if he was worried about this. This is what he had to say. Take a listen.
I want to ask about the New York races, since you mentioned that. Are you worried at all about the influence of the Democratic Socialists in primaries there and across the country?
Well, there are 4 races in New York City, and I'm standing behind every single one of those races that involve an incumbent, of course, and that's Adriano Espaillat, Dan Goldman, Yvette Clarke, and Grace Meng. And then we're watching closely 2 open seat races that House Democratic leadership hasn't gotten involved in by custom. And that, of course, is in the 7th Congressional District, where Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez and a coalition of very progressive Democrats, including Tish James, the Attorney General, and the public advocate Jumaane Williams, along with the Working Families Party, and many of the unions that we work closely with, are on one side of that race, with DSA on the other. We'll see what happens.
It's funny, when Hakeem Jeffries speaks, it's like he just wants to prolong it. It's like in the Senate they have the filibuster. Hakeem Jeffries just doesn't want to answer a question, so he just lives like going on all about it, and it's funny. Brad Todd, who is a commentator over on CNN, had a comment about how Hakeem Jeffries is going to have to deal with this. Take a listen.
They're pulling the brand leftward. I mean, the Democratic Party now is the Democratic Socialist Party of America. They're for anti-Semitism. They're for confiscation. They're against capitalism.
Come on, we're
this
for
is what's
anti-Semitism.
This
That's
is what's
obscene.
happening.
That's
this
an
is what's
obscene
happening.
statement.
And you also can look tonight and see somebody else as a big loser. That's Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries is going to lose these races in New York, where Zoran Mandami
He didn't endorse in these races.
He did endorse. He endorsed Goldman. He endorsed his incumbent members of Congress. If he can't get the Hispanic caucus chairman across the line in a city where he's the leading figure of the political machine, then his stick is very short in the U.S. Capitol. And that's because Hakeem Jeffries himself, as liberal as he is not far left enough for today's Democratic primary vote.
Ouch. 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 Here's the thing. It's true. Can't deny this. These guys are the owners of the party. Hakeem is now beholden to them. This is the anchor that is dragging everyone left. And this ties back to how I opened the show. This is why Republicans will keep the majority. They've got the money. They got the redistricting. And now they get to say, this is what you will be voting for. These guys are nuts. Okay? So when we return, the majority whip of the U.S. House, Tom Emmer, is going to explain what the agenda is, what they are campaigning on, and what we need to look forward to in the final months of this session before we head into the midterms. And then when we're done, I'm going to break down for you a little of what James Blair, the president's top political advisor, told me earlier this week and why it matters, the message that he's getting. So you are not going to want to miss this. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday morning. You're listening to Full Court Press. I'm your host, Sean Spicer, here on WABC. We'll be right back.
It's 1938. The 2-week pay period is invented. But then the world got faster. Faster travel, faster delivery, faster everything. Except our pay. Until now, with daily pay, everyone can access money they've earned when they need it. Yes, this is the future of pay. Daily pay. Work with the leader in on-demand pay at dailypay.com. Transfer fee may apply.
Want to elevate your travel experience? Here's how. With a Delta SkyMiles Reserve American Express card, you can relax before your flight in the Delta Sky Club with up to 15 visits per medallion year. And now through July 15th, 2026, you can earn up to 125,000 bonus miles, so you're closer to your next adventure. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve card. Check out the new design at www.delta.com/Spotify. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
When the world keeps shifting, we're there to help you act with confidence. At HSBC, we bring together the people, ideas, and capital that drive growth, backing your ambitions at every stage. So when you're preparing for the next generation, strengthening your portfolio, or you're entering new markets, we're there, bringing 160 years of experience to help you move forward. HSBC, opening up a world of opportunity.
This is Full Court Press with Sean Spicer on 77 WABC. The Full Court Press is on the air. Now, here's Sean Spicer.
Welcome back to Full Court Press. I'm your host, Sean Spicer, on this Sunday morning. I am honored to be joined by the House Majority Whip, the gentleman, the congressman from Minnesota, Tom Emmer. Congressman Tom Emmer, thanks for joining us. Listen, what's going on? I know the president was excited about this housing bill. He came up to the Hill. There's some holdup. Why don't you just give listeners a sense of where things stand in the House and what's happening?
Well, the House, as you know, this past week, things kind of came to a screeching halt. The president, I think he's got some challenges on the other side of the building, Sean. You know, he's his relationship
that would be the Senate
with the Senate is just a little bit stressed, I guess you could say right now. That has impacted the House in terms of some of our members who believe they're representing the people at home and they're helping the president with his agenda. But they've kind of slowed us up a little bit. So we're going to be back this coming week And when we get back, I mean, we've already passed 2 appropriations bills. We've got 10 more to do. We got the annual national defense bill that's got to be done this coming week. We're trying to pass another smaller reconciliation bill. We've also got a highway bill, which has to get done on or before September 30th as well, and that's a major piece of legislation. And then we'll probably take up the WRDA bill. We passed one of those, by the way, for people listening and don't know what it is. It's an acronym, and I'm not going to give the words, but it's like
you want to know what? Can I just tell you this? Water Resources Development Act. This is I always wondered if my time as a staff assistant in the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee back in 1996 would come back. I finally found a reason to use it. It's like when I took Latin in high school. I've always wondered if I'd need it. I finally found a good purpose for serving on the EPW committee back in 1996, and you just gave it to me. So there you go.
Well, and we got to pass one of those each Congress to fund projects related to the water resources, ports, waterways, et cetera. So we got a lot to do, Sean, and we'll get back to work this coming week.
And so just explain this, because I think what this boils down to is, as you put it, the president wants to get the Save America Act, but you guys have done that, right? This is not a House problem. You and the House Republicans have passed the Save America Act, correct?
We passed it 3 times, Sean, and we've actually passed, if you include all the versions of it, we've passed it more times than that. And by the way, this has been my complaint. I'll make it very clear to you because I've said it publicly. I'm a big John Thune fan, but I look at, and that's true. I think the world of John Thune, and I think he's trying to be the leader that his members want. But I got to tell you, I understand the president's frustration. You've got an issue, Sean, that 80% of America, Republicans, Democrats, others, all agree that it makes sense. If you're going to vote, you got to prove your citizenship. And by the way, when you show up at the poll on the day of the vote, you should identify yourself, have an identification that proves you are that citizen that's entitled to vote. Everybody agrees with that. And I got to tell you, if you can't pass an 80% issue out of the Senate, what the hell are you doing there?
And look, here's what my take on this is. Tell me if I'm wrong or you agree. I think what frustrates a lot of people, John Thune's sitting there saying, hey, here are the numbers. Here's how many people are voting for it. Here's how many people won't vote for it. So there's a math problem, is basically what Thune is saying. Here's my point. I would argue that show me that you're trying, right? So imagine your kid comes home from school and says, I'm not even going to try to take the test because I'm going to get an F. Most parents would say, why don't you take it? Let's see how you do. At least show us that you're trying. And I think the frustration that I know a lot of people on the right have is that why not try this talking filibuster? Why not? Just at least, I get it. Maybe it won't be successful. Maybe all of those people are right. But what frustrates, I think, some people, Congressman, is why not just show us that you try? Maybe the pressure that you just spoke about, that 80% of people who think this is total common sense, puts it on a Mitch McConnell or a Lisa Murkowski who said, all right, I feel the pressure, I'm going to do it. Why not just try a couple of these things that people like Mike Lee have suggested?
Well, I'm with you. I do agree with that, but I think there's a better way to do this. And I really think we should pass a smaller version of a reconciliation bill, and we should attach it to the reconciliation bill, because the argument they're going to make to you is it takes 60 votes. Well, a reconciliation bill, as you know, only takes 50 plus 1. And they'll give you the argument, well, it's not going to be in order by the parliamentarians. Sean, remember back to your days in the U.S. Senate. You can overrule the parliamentarian with 50 plus 1. It happens all the time in history. This is not the American public are fed up with being BS. That's what it is.
But here's the thing. Okay, first of all, you made me go back to that nostalgia between WRDA and that. Robert Dove, the parliamentarian, was fired under Bob Dole. But here's the point that I want to make this broader. Tom Emmer just created a path forward, a solution that I think everybody, and that's what I'm talking about. Literally show us a path to yes instead of a path to no. And Tom Emmer from Minnesota, the House Whip, just gave us a roadmap for the Senate. Why not that? Okay. Like, okay, so you just put it out there. I think everybody goes, great. I don't really care if you how you get there. Tell me how you get there. You laid out a path. Why not?
Well, and here's the issue I've got with and this is how this idea comes about. Sean, I've been making the statement: there are no Republicans, there are no Democrats, there are just senators. They both use the filibuster and the parliamentarian to avoid taking votes they don't want to take. Why do we succeed in the House? Because the moment of truth arrives, a vote goes up on the board, and you are going to show the American people if you're with them or against them. And they need to do that in the Senate. Okay, so you won't get rid of the filibuster, even though that didn't start with a country, and you've got some nostalgic attachment to it. Fine. Then put it on a reconciliation bill that only requires Republican votes. And if there is a Republican that is actually going to vote against this in the Senate, they shouldn't be there.
I think you just saw, okay, this is what I'm talking about, though. I love this thinking. This is what we need more of, which is here's how we get to yes. And again, what frustrates people is when you, think about all your different positions, you can go, here's how to do it. And you get a bunch of senators looking, going, interesting. Mike Lee said the talking filibuster, you want to attach it to reconciliation. The Sean Spicer view is, great, do it all. Figure out which one works, but I don't like the frustration. I get it. And so let's just dial back to your members. You've put a path forward. You've explained it. Obviously, you can't do anything more than that. You're a member of the House of Representatives. The senators have the problem. What is the path forward to our members in the House Republican Conference to say, guys, we're doing everything we can, but let's not stop the president's agenda?
Well, it really is going to take the president, our friend Donald Trump, needs to tell the members that we're talking about, who are good members, but he needs to let them know you're not helping. You're actually harming my ability to move the agenda that 77 million people voted for. And I think once he tells them that this is not the way to help me, I think then it opens it all up.
Okay. When we get beyond that, and just to be clear, your members, you guys are going to get your members back and find a way forward and work with these members over. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You alluded to it at the beginning, but between now and November, Election Day, what is at the top of the Tom Emmer list of things that you mentioned the Water Resources Development Act that's got to get passed. I get it. You and I can probably agree that not a lot of people are going to go say, wow, let's maintain a Republican majority because they passed the reauthorization of the Water Resources Development Act. What is it that you, with your perch as having been the top guy on the campaign committee, say, these are the three things we need to get done that will help us explain to the American people why we're doing a good job, we're good stewards as a majority party?
Well, the great peacemaker, Donald Trump, has already done the first thing, and that is finding a path forward in the Middle East and with the Iranians. He has started that process. You have seen gas prices starting to move downward. I mean, it'll take a while, but I think the most important thing is he said as soon as this gets taken care of, they will come back down, and they are. And guess what? We got to be talking about all the good things in the economy, Sean, because there are a lot of good things. There are 99-cent eggs. That's a real thing. In fact, there was a place in California last week where they were 79 cents. You got billions of dollars being pumped into new manufacturing, AI investment all across this country, and it's going to hit. It already is growing the economy, but get ready. By the time we get to the end of August, early September, that is really going to hit. The second piece, I think we do need to get the housing bill signed into law. Is any bill perfect? No, Sean. But this is 85% of the House housing bill, which is great for community banks, which make the vast majority of home mortgage loans in this country. It streamlines, creates efficiencies. It will actually drive more supply. We're 8 million homes short in this country right now. It will drive supply. The bigger the supply, the prices come down. It's a very simple concept, Sean, and I think that's going to be important to us. But then it's just a matter of making sure that the reality that is the economy and the people's perception of that reality intersect by the end of August, beginning of September, because this election is going to be decided by that 80% of the public that's just my number, but 80% of us that don't wear a partisan jersey year round, they're earning a living. They're trying to pay a mortgage. They're putting food on the table and clothes on the kids. And they've been thinking from the beginning of the year where they're going to take their family vacation, right? Well, they will wake up sometime after Labor Day, Sean. And when they do, they'll do what Americans always do. They will evaluate their personal situation in an emotional way. Am I in a better position today than I was when this started? And do I see a bright future for me and my family? If the answer to that is yes, Sean, and I believe it will be yes, guess what? They vote for more of what they have. And if it's no, they showed us in 2024 what they will do. They'll say, I can't take another 4 years of Joe Biden. I got to go. I got to change this thing. So I believe that we are on the right side of history. Plus, we've got numbers, Sean. I mean, think about this. Hakeem Jeffries is incompetent. He wants everybody to think he's good. You saw him just get his hat handed to him in his hometown the other night. I want to tell you, with him leading the charge, we're in a great position. He's targeted 40 of our seats. Guess what? Donald Trump's average margin of victory in those 40 seats was 53% plus. Compare that to 2018 when we lost. He was at 46%. So you start out with a 6% advantage right away, and then you got to look at there are 23 Democrats sitting in seats that Donald Trump won in the 2024 election. There are only 8 Republicans sitting in seats that Kamala won. And of those 23, Sean, 14 Democrats sit in seats that Donald Trump won by double digits. I like our chances in the fall.
Let's just repeat that. It's a great statistic. 8 Republicans are in Kamala-held districts, right? Did I get that one right? Okay.
Yes.
And 24 Dems in Trump
23.
districts? 23. That's huge.
14 of the 23 he won by double digits.
Wow, that is huge. All right, I want to get to Hakeem Jeffries in that in just a second, but let me just be clear. I saw Donald Trump's approval rating rocket up in one poll that the Daily Mail went as soon as this Iranian situation went away. Do you believe that really, I mean, that to you has got to have made life a lot easier with your members? That the second I joke with people every morning that I get coffee, I look at the gas prices, they're going down, down, down. Gas is huge when it comes to people's budgets. They're commuting, maybe they're even in the gig economy, driving an Uber, something like that. How big was that for you and your chances of maintaining the majority?
Well, it is very important because, I mean, this thing that they want us to focus on, which I disagree with, affordability. Affordability is a nonsense term, Sean. Affordability is nothing more than another word for the economy. The elections are always about the economy. So the reason they focused on gas, you hit it, but it's also because, like groceries, you don't go into the grocery store every day. You don't fill your tank every day. But you know what you do, Sean? You drive down the street and you're looking at that big sign that says $3.25, $3.50, $3.75, $4. That's, by the way, Menlo Park, California last week. I found one for $7.29. Ouch.
California. So, you can't help California, can you?
Well, I think California, there's something going on there. It might take a little time. But when you have incompetent leadership that leads to loss of life, loss of property, loss of liberty, eventually the public wakes up and says enough. I think it's coming in California.
I do too. It may take a little while, but when you allow that many people just to get high every day, maybe it just takes a little longer. You mentioned Hakeem Jeffries. You've been the head of the campaign committee on the Republican side. You're the whip. I'm going to ask you to do something kind of nuts. Put yourself in their shoes for a second. How concerned should Hakeem Jeffries be that he is now going to have a caucus of, I'd say, a minimum of 8 that are self-identified Democrat Socialists of America? If you just, again, I know this is a bit crazy, but if you as the whip were having to deal with a block like that, especially considering you're from Minnesota, I mean, like, he's got to deal with these New Yorkers in his own state, in his own delegation. And as leader, he's going to have to manage them, whether he's in the majority or the minority, likely in the minority. Talk to us about how difficult that is as a job to manage that.
Well, first off, Hakeem Jeffries doesn't have to worry about it at all because he's not going to be the leader. I mean, this guy. No, I'm serious. This guy.
Good. I like that. I like that confidence. I'm not. I agree with you, but I just like to hear you. I keep telling people the math doesn't add up for the Democrats. The pundits are lazy and stupid. The math favors Republicans. The money favors Republicans. I agree with you. I just think that it's another reminder that these guys just love to blow smoke up the media.
Without a doubt, Sean, which is why I love talking to you, because you don't do that. This guy doesn't have to worry about it because he will not be the leader. Somebody else will be the leader. You asked me what I would do? Look, first off, I'm not going to associate with people who hate my country. I'm not going to associate with people who say things as stupid as I wipe myself with the American flag. I'm not going to be in a party where patriotism is now 20% of the party. The rest of them don't like this country. They hate this country. I'm not going to be in a party where Graham Plattner has a Nazi tattoo on his chest and then tries to gaslight everybody, telling them, well, I didn't know what it was when they put it on there, really. If you're that dumb, you shouldn't be running for office in the first place. I'm not going to be in a party with someone like Ilhan Omar, who is a racist, hateful, anti-Semite. I'm not going to be in a party that elects an attorney general in Virginia who fantasizes about murdering his opponent's family and his opponent. This is what America is getting. And you know what? The farther they go, they keep putting these people up. I can't believe the guy who is going to run in New Jersey who supported the blind sheep. These are people who killed Americans. It's just. Well,
you got, and by the way, on the Senate side, you got El Said, who's hanging around with people that said that America deserved 9/11. I mean, this is where the Democratic Party is today. Honest to God, in my entire life, I would never imagine that party had gone that nuts. Congressman, Sean, you've been very. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say one more thing, and that is, if you came to this country, you came to America because of what America offers. And now you're running for office or you're committing bad acts against this country, you should be denaturalized and shipped the hell back to where you came from.
Yes, thank you. You're saying what so many people are saying. We need that kind of leadership right now. People are willing to say this because if you don't want to be an American, don't come or get out. And I think everybody wants to tiptoe around this stuff, and I appreciate your voice and your leadership on stuff like this. I want to ask you one last question, though, sir, on a Sunday morning.
Yes, sir.
I had Congresswoman Erin Hochin on the show, your colleague from Indiana, and she has been she is fantastic. And one of the issues, and I'm sure as a father and throughout your district, you hear a lot of people talk about the dangers of social media with kids. Where do you think so where are you in the House leadership on the issue of trying to protect kids from the dangers of social media?
Well, I'm a little bit more radical on some of this stuff. I do believe in the freedom, but when you're talking about young minds, these algorithms that literally engage in rage. I mean, I think a vast majority of the mental health issues we're dealing with in this country are directly related to the new forms of communication that we have. I do believe that there should be some reasonable restrictions. I mean, it's the same thing we do with alcohol and tobacco. It's the same thing that we do with movies, right? You can't go to certain movies until you're developed at a certain age. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's no reason why you couldn't put reasonable restrictions that would protect kids as they develop and probably solve a great deal of the mental health issues. But the other place, Sean, where I'm different, I think we should all own our own data. I think you and I should own all of our data, so when these big tech companies come in and start scraping it, they can be held liable. That has value, Sean. It's my value that I'm creating. It's Sean Spicer's value. If they want our stuff, first they got to ask us, and second, they got to compensate us if they're going to do that. I think that's part of the problem, too, is they're just taking all this data and building these algorithms, and that's where it comes from.
I love it. Count me on board on both. Tom Emmer, Congressman from Minnesota, House Majority Whip. Thank you for your leadership. Thanks for what you're doing. I appreciate you joining us on this Sunday morning. Folks, we'll be right back.
Thanks, Sean. Happy birthday, America.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
This is Full Court Press with Sean Spicer on 77 WABC. Welcome to your personal briefing. The Full Court Press is on the air. Now, here's Sean Spicer.
Welcome back. You are listening to Full Court Press. I'm your host, Sean Spicer, here on WABC. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Tom Emmer as much as I did on a number of fronts. One, the agenda getting laid out. Here's what we have to do to win, to keep the majority. And I've explained it to you before, just to reiterate when your friends ask you. There's 2 options, plain and simple. Either you elect Democrats, who we just talked about are nuts and are going further to the socialist crazy nut, who will impeach and investigate Donald Trump and everybody around him for 2 years, and that's how it will end, or we continue moving the agenda forward. Now, I hear from a lot of people say, like, oh, well, we didn't get this done. I get it. But I'm also a realist. Was it Reagan who said, like, my friend that I get 70% from or 80% from is better than the person? Like, we should be focused on, like, what unites us and what the alternative is, because that's important. Democrats don't want it. They just want to say Donald Trump, because they know that their agenda sucks, and it's highly unpopular, and it's highly destructive. Anyway, I also got to tell you, I loved what Tom Emmer said at the end about this social media stuff. I had Erin Houchin. She's a congresswoman from Indiana on my show every night, 6 o'clock. You can go to YouTube, listen to the Huddle in the morning. You can listen to the YouTube station at night. And I'll be honest, I get pitched a lot by members of Congress where they would like to come on the show. Here's an issue I talk about. And a lot of times it's like, knitting. I'm kidding, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, okay, I'm not really sure the audience is going to like this. And I care about this issue about social media a lot. And she's been a leader in it, but I was like, all right, well, let's do it. Let's have her on the show. I'm not kidding, guys. It was one of the most impactful segments that I've had in a long time. This woman knows her stuff. She is fighting tooth and nail, and it was enlightening. Why? Because I didn't fully appreciate this. Do you realize that in 1998 there was a bill that was passed that basically the age of maturity, if you will, right? You heard Congressman talk about smoking and going to movies and all this kind of stuff. There's always ages, right? Whether you buy alcohol or cigarettes or go to a movie. Do you realize in the age for the internet, it's 13 years old since 1998? So that's what the social media companies are relying on. So they say, well, if you're 13, you can sign up. 13. And so she's fighting hard, and there's a measure. And you want to know what the measure would raise it to? 14. Are you kidding me? Because here's the dirty secret. Big tech is fighting hard to stop this. There is now unequivocal mental health data showing that, like, this affects the development of your brain. anxiety, suicide, self-harm. What are we doing? You would never give your kid a cigarette or a shot of alcohol if they were 13 years old. Maybe you would. I don't know, but I wouldn't. And yet we're sitting here knowing that. Never mind, I also think there's a massive national security threat. And yet these guys are defending 13-year-olds. I was so heartened to hear Tom Emmer say that. So I'm just telling you, I love that. But I want to get you back to a couple things that we talked about with Tom Emmer. What happened? So the president's going up to Capitol Hill. He's going to sign this housing bill. And then he's going to meet with the senators. Easy peasy day. Sign the housing bill. Check it off. I mean, they're tweeting about it. Everybody's saying this is going to be a great bill, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, it was like a tornado blew through a beautiful sunny day. Apparently, a bunch of members had said to him, don't let this happen without attaching the Save America bill. It's what they call in Washington a must-pass bill. So sometimes it's appropriations bills, whatever. They're must-pass. And a lot of times what happens is members of Congress look at must-pass legislation and say, I'm going to attach X, Y, and Z to it because, there's only so many trains out of the station. Anna Paulina Luna tweeted out, this is the other night. I'm going to read exactly what she wrote. It is 10 p.m. and Thune just got unanimous consent, meaning not one senator objected, for the Senate to adjourn 19 days, July 13th, meaning the Senate is going home after tonight's votes. I will not be voting to reopen the floor until the Senate gets back to Washington. The Senate is literally running, and not one senator objected to going on vacation before the 4th of July. John Thune is running and hiding because he doesn't want to get voter ID across the finish line. So, President Trump says, screw it. I'm not signing this housing bill. He goes to the Senate lunch and starts berating them and says, and again, you heard Tom Emmer. Who is against people who are not citizens voting, who can't prove who they are? I see this over and over again. People saying, I got 5 ballots mailed to my house to random people, to not me. Left, this without evidence. There's plenty of evidence. So John Cornyn, the defeated Texas senator, sends out this tweet of his own and writes, there's not a single instance in history of the United States Senate where a talking filibuster has resulted in a favorable outcome for the proponent. Furthermore, here are some very important priorities we should be precluded from considering. And it's a picture of this memo of bad things that could possibly happen. God forbid we try, Senator Cornyn, right? So Senator Mike Lee of Utah responded to Cornyn and said the following. John Cornyn, your memo perfectly illustrates why the talking filibuster is necessary, not why we should avoid it like the plague or pretend it doesn't exist. The procedural hurdles you list, including the 2-speech rule, quorum, calendar drag, and opportunity costs, are real. But they are also manageable and in many instances can even be used to strengthen our negotiation position. If Republicans actually use the rules instead of surrendering to them, the alternative, walking away from the Save America Act, has far higher costs. Another election without proof of citizenship, more erosion of public confidence, and Democrats continuing to weaponize the same procedures against us. We can hold quorum. We can manage the 2-speech rule. We can prioritize. The Senate should turn immediately to the Save America Act, debate it, and pass it. Election integrity isn't optional, and it isn't going away. Let's do the work. Let's save America. Let's pass the Save America Act. That's Senator Mike Lee of Utah. But do you understand the point? That's why I'm saying this with respect to Congressman Emmer. Some of these guys are defeatists. I don't even want to try. It'll never work. Who knows? How do you know unless you try? And I just hate this mentality over there in the Senate, which is, well, what? Can't even try it. Don't even bother. I mean, seriously? Cleta Mitchell, by the way, is a very, very prominent election attorney. And she replied to this whole thread. And this is what she wrote. Here's how to get the Save America Act passed by the Senate into the president's desk. 1, House passes Reconciliation 3.0 with the Save America Act in the bill, along with funding for states to pay for real ID that says citizen on the driver's license. Okay. That's what Tom Emmer's talking about, using the reconciliation provision. Then she says, send the bill to the Senate. 2, when the Senate parliamentarian rules that under the Byrd rule that the provision is policy rather than funding, so it has to have 60 votes. So she's playing this out in real time. This is what's going to happen. Then she says 3, Senator Thune or any senator can appeal the ruling of the chair. It takes a simple majority, 51 votes. Get it? There you go. They keep saying we don't have the votes. They do. Actually, that's not true. And then she says, put VP Vance in the chair. The Save America Act stays in reconciliation. Reconciliation passes with Save America Act. Real Donald Trump signs the bill. This is paint by numbers that she's doing right here. To celebrate the 250th birthday of the American independence, nuke the Byrd rule, named after Byrd. Okay, you see the path is there if somebody will take it. I just, this defeatist mentality of these guys, well, I can't even try it. Who knows? We don't have the votes. Yeah, you do. There's 2 paths. Try it. Try both. Get it done. As I mentioned, I had James Blair, the president's top political strategist, on my show earlier this week, and I asked him point blank, what's the message Republicans have to use to get reelected and save the majority? And this is his response.
Both messaging and tactics, but at the top, it's pretty simple. You have one of 2 choices. You will get total gridlock in Washington and nothing will happen at all for the next 2 years, at least nothing good. Or if Republicans are back in power, you'll have steady progress. But the Democrats have made clear they only have one agenda item: block, stop, deny. That's it. They don't have anything that they're going to do for the American people. We, on the other hand, we want to continue to lower taxes. Just today, you know, there should be a bill signing soon where the president will sign a piece of housing legislation that does what he laid out in the State of the Union, which is ban big, investment funds from buying homes and competing with average American home buyers. We want to build on that work. We want to finish what we started in healthcare, right? Getting the cost of prescription drugs down, holding insurance companies accountable, and forcing them to start disclosing their profits and their claim denials and what their average wait time is for their patients. Whereas the Democrats, they don't want any of that to happen. They don't want to hold insurance companies accountable. They just want to keep pumping billions of dollars of taxpayer money into them, which they have since they started Obamacare, and sort of hope things get better, which they haven't, right? Nobody says, hey, my healthcare is great. So we have an agenda, and that goes to the main point of, I think, how we motivate people, Sean. We have to explain to people what we're going to do for them. So it's not just running on accomplishments. I think that's important, but it's what are we going to do next? If you give us your vote again, what are we going to get done for you in the next 2 years? What is the point of you getting out of bed on Tuesday or during early voting and going out and voting for us? And so that's what I think every Republican candidate, both we at the national level, sort of at the macro level, but every Republican candidate individually has to make the case to their voters. Not only are the Democrats crazy, and they're far to the left and way out of step with the electorate, they're woke, weak, and way too liberal, but we are the party of common sense, and here are the things that we're going to accomplish for you. We're going to get your prices down. We're going to keep working on rebuilding the economy and making it stronger. We want to keep cutting taxes. We want to unleash economic growth, give everybody an opportunity. That is what we need to campaign on, because that's what we're for as a party. That's what our agenda is. And that's what voters need to know. If I go and vote for the Republicans, here's what I'm going to get for that in the next 2.
Boom. You know, it's funny. He says right at the end, we got to make it very clear who these Democrats are. And Ali Velshi, the dude over at MS Now, was asking this new member of Congress, or soon to be member of Congress, Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, the woman that they're calling DAC, about how they're now going to brand everyone as a communist. And this is what she said.
Delegation. And you're going to appear in all sorts of people's ads, all sorts of Republicans' ads to say, this is what you're going to get if you vote for the Democrats, a communist.
You know, I think that framing is one that I've been very proud to be able to say I don't respond to, one in which I have been very intentional to say I won't be reactive. We are presenting a vision of what we're fighting for, and I think for far too long we have had politics that is reactive to what Republicans are doing. What we need is Democrats who are actually going to present a positive vision, one that sets the tone for what we should be talking about, which is the issue of affordability, which is the issue of how our budgets are moral documents. If we say that we want to invest in working people in this country, then we need to do that, and our budgets need to reflect that. If we say that we value immigration and immigration justice, we need to make sure that that is also reflective in our policy. And so I'm very proud of a campaign that we built that centers those ideals, that centers those values and that vision for what we need as a community. And that's how I'll continue to move forward in Congress. And I think that for far too long, this reactive conversation of what we should be afraid of has prevented us from being able to have a politics of hope and a politics of life that Democrats can actually identify with. When the majority of the Democratic base has been seeking for the Democratic Party to actually...
I don't know what the heck she just said. He asked her if she was going to appear, what she thought about the allegations that she would be accused of this in other people's ads, and she made it all about her. That was like a word salad that Kamala Harris would be proud of. Anyway, nuts. That's what we're dealing with, though, those folks. This is who's coming. This is who's getting off the train in Washington to vote on behalf of people in New York. Sorry. And it's going to become a bigger issue. This is the new Democratic Party. Anyway, what a show we've had. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate everything that you guys do to help support the show and to WABC. I will see you soon. Thanks for being here. Have a great week. Thanks for listening to Full Court Press. I'm your host, Sean Spicer.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Google Health. Stop chasing someone else's definition of health. What matters is what's healthy for you. Google Health offers a new kind of coach built with Gemini for effortless tracking, sleep insights, and holistic coaching tailored to you. Visit googlestore.com to learn more and start a new relationship with your health. Requires Google account, Google Health app, internet, and Google Health Premium subscription. Features subject to change. Availability and results vary. Not intended for medical purposes. Works independently of Gemini apps. Check responses for accuracy.